Good evening, viewers. Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Jesse, and this is Jesse Talks Prison. All right. We'll pick up where we last left off. Our last discussion was at the end of the first week of the academy, and this is going to delve into week 2. After Friday, we were given the weekend off. I went back home, stayed home Saturday and Sunday. We were given some homework by our instructors. We were to recite the TDCJ mission statement and be ready to recite it first thing Monday morning. Okay, roger that. Well, so I woke up early Monday morning, made the drive back to Huntsville, and got there. Everyone was pulling into the parking lot. We were still at the log cabin. There were 2 locations that the academy would do its training. There was the log cabin that was across from the Goree unit, and then when you went further up into Huntsville, there was the actual academy building, which is across from the, oh Lord, it's been so long, the Ellis unit. Okay, it was the Ellis unit, yeah. So we were still at the log cabin, and we hadn't gotten our uniforms yet. We had been fitted for them, so I was still in blue jeans, polo shirt, and we knew that we were supposed to meet up outside, out back on the basketball court, getting our formation. Again, think of anything military where you see columns of human beings lined up in lines. I say humans because I don't want to say men and women, whatever. Lined up in lines, ready to go. The class leader had called us to attention, and we're waiting for the instructor to come out. The instructor comes out. Let's recite the TDCJ mission statement. And it was kind of quiet, awkward. He goes, all in unison, TDCJ mission statement, go. And a couple of people started kind of murmuring. There were 4 sentences to it. I don't remember what it was. This has been years ago. A couple of cadets started murmuring some of the lines to it, and he goes, stop. Weren't y'all giving homework over the weekend? In my mind, I'm going, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Come on, man. We ain't taking this shit. That's it. At the time, I didn't realize like how dangerous and how into working in a prison was going to be. My mind at the time, I kind of thought it was going to be a bit of a breeze. I thought I would hire on and get through this academy, coast through, prior military, thank me for my service, all that kind of good stuff. I thought I'd just breeze through, get on, and everything would be okay. Well, it didn't work out that way. So he got pretty pissed off that we didn't know the mission statement, and that was hammered into that day. We filed out from there, went in the classroom, and the lesson that we were supposed to cover that day, we ended up standing at our desks and reciting over and over and over, line for line, word for word, the TDCJ mission statement. You'd think I'd be able to remember it to this day. I'm sorry, I got a few other things to remember in life. So that was pretty much the day's events. We went to lunch, came back for class. I don't remember the exact specific class that we had. A lot of that's tuned out at this time. One thing I do remember was usually about an hour or so after lunch, we would change out, and that's when we would do our PT, aka physical training, aka DT, defensive tactics. We'd file out of the building, go out on where the basketball court was, get in 2 lines, one person in front of the other, turn and face each other, not to where you could actually reach out and touch each other, but we would throw punches, kicks, blocks, strikes, jabs at each other, pretending like it was an inmate that was in front of you. So you and me are in front of each other. I would punch, then I would stand still, and the other individual would punch. And this was on command of the instructor. It was pretty good exercise. It wasn't tiring. One second. hydrate or die. It wasn't that it was tiring, but it was good physical exertion. It was good exercise for the muscles. It was good stretching, and it was starting to develop muscle memory. Now, of course, you've got the type A personalities, those who have been in, so many fights in all their time, and they've seen all the fighting movies and everything. They're going to offer their interjections. They're going to ask the instructor, should they do this? Should they do that? Folks, the instructors don't create curriculum. The instructors are simply the sergeant instructors, the ones that we dealt with face to face. They don't write policy or curriculum. They're there to teach the curriculum that's been given to them. They can't alter it. They can't adjust it. They're there to do their job. Whether or not they agree with it, they have to teach it. Whether or not the cadet agrees with what's being taught, that's the material that's presented. That's what has to be covered. And that's what we were taught in the academy. The academy is there to cover policy. Okay? The academy is not there. This is going to sound rough. The academy is not there to prepare a cadet for working conditions inside of a prison. Okay? That's the job of the field training officer, aka FTO, once you actually get to the penitentiary. The academy checks the boxes, gets you the prerequisites that the state requires for somebody to hire on, and then once you get to the unit, it's on the unit to prepare the newly hired corrections officer for it. I learned more in a week, not even a week, a couple of days, once I was at the Styles unit, than I did the whole time of the academy. All right, but let's stay on track here. At the end of the day usually ended up around 1600, 1630, something like that. I don't remember the exact time. 4 o'clock, 4:30 for non-military speakers. After that, it was your own time. You could do what you wanted to do. Go back to the barracks, change out, study, hang out, watch some TV in the common space when it wasn't all staticky and broke up. Do whatever you want to on your phone. It was our time. I think it was around 1800, which is 6 o'clock in the evening. That was when the Walls unit would have dinner at the ODR, the officer's dining room. I'd put back on my jeans, polo shirt, polished boots. I'd go over there and you'd use your state issued ID. That would get you inside the facility, get you through the gate. And of course, everybody knew who cadets were. We were the only ones who were in civvy clothes. We looked brand new. We had everything was kind of new, fresh. You can just tell the look on the faces of the individuals going through there. And the inmates, they usually wouldn't say much to us. They were actually relatively well behaved there. You get to the ODR and they'd serve you whatever kind of food was available. The one that sticks out the most in my mind, it was shaped like a hockey puck. Okay, round, circular, cylindrical. And it was some kind of what I would guess to be ham, pork product. It was pinkish in color and half burnt. Okay, pinkish in color. It could have been anything from ham to salami to pastrami to whatever kind of pink processed canned whatever meat that had been formed into a puck, fried on a grill, flipped over. You could always count on some kind of vegetable, carrot, green bean. The spoons that they served weren't, the spoons that they used to serve weren't slotted, so you would get just a mess of whatever the water is inside vegetables that comes in the canned product stuff, or whatever water that they use to boil the vegetables in. All that was coming on the plate as well, not drained. And some kind of a bean. Navy, black, kidney, chili, everything but refried bean. Pinto, Pinto, very popular. Everything but refried beans. They're cheap. They're easy to produce. You get beaned to death at that ODR. So that was that night. The other big particular product that they would have there, pulled pork. Every couple of days, some kind of freaking pulled pork. I don't eat pulled pork to this day because of eating it so much at the ODRs in the time that I spent there. I don't like it. It stinks. It's nasty. This stuff, man, sometimes it would still have hair attached to it. Like they just ripped this shit off the back of the hog and just cooked it just the way that it was. All right. The benefit to it, it was free. When you don't have a lot of money and you're just trying to get by, when they shove food at you, you're going to eat it. All right. And I did. So there wasn't a whole lot memorable about the second week. The two main things that really stick out in my mind, we had a first aid class. 8 hours of this first aid. It was a disc presentation. It would play the video. We had the little half human whatevers that you would do the CPR on. You'd tilt the head back, breathe into the mouth, press on the chest with both hands, simulate CPR. 8 hours of this. You want to talk about absolutely brutal, freaking dull. I think it might have been, it wasn't Friday, I remember that. I don't remember if it was Wednesday or Thursday. We got our uniform issued. All right. We're issued out our uniforms, take some time, change out into them, make sure they relatively fit. I've already described in the previous videos what the uniform looked like. Now we were actually issued them. 4 shirts, 4 sets of trousers, 1 belt, 1 squirrel skin jacket. You signed your uniform issue card. That went in our folder, jacket, record, personnel file, whatever you want to call it. That went in that we had been issued the proper uniform items. From there, when we reported to the academy, we were required to be in uniform. They were long sleeves, polish your boots, all that kind of stuff. There wasn't a whole lot that was very memorable about week 2. I remember we were in the log cabin all week trying to think of something else for it. We had classes. I know that we did have classes. I'm trying to remember them. We had classes, and we had our big red book, study guide kind of book. At night we were supposed to read ahead and kind of front load ourselves a little bit of information so we're a little bit more prepared for the next morning's instruction. I can say, and I'm pretty sure it's the same way today, if you didn't read ahead, it didn't matter. You were still going to get enough information to get yourself through. Some of the viewers of my other channel, Just Occupational Awareness, have asked about exams. It's been mentioned ad nauseum. If I did have exams that amounted to anything, I don't remember them. Obviously, they weren't because we all graduated without any kind of problems. One of my viewers mentioned the exams that they take now, they're open book. They seem to be simply a formality. If you're listening to this and you're planning on going through the academy and you're worried about an exam, don't worry about it. You're going to get through. At the end of the second week, on Friday, we were told we weren't going to be coming back to the log cabin anymore. We were going to go to the actual official building, which I don't remember the roadway. I'm not going to paint a map. It would be easy to get on Google Map, and you guys could easily find it. It was across from the Ellis unit. Pretty big facility. The parking lot was a rock gravel driveway. It also had the range that was attached to it. Now, this was just a big, long building with a bunch of different classrooms, and that was where we were going to finish out the rest of our training from there. We had 3 more weeks from it. We were told At some point during week 3, we were going to do our first unit tour, which was at the holiday unit. That's when we all get together as a class. We drive over to the holiday unit. We get in, they give us a unit brief, and we take a tour of the unit. It's the first time for most going into an actual prison facility. The reason I say that, it's not uncommon for a lot of the academy classes to have individuals who previously worked, quit, went on to bigger, greener pastures, found out they weren't bigger, better, and greener, and have come back to the agency. If it's been through so much time, the academy, it's affectionately called the academy. It's referred to as pre-service training. They have to go through pre-service training again. So you'll have those individuals. There are other individuals that worked in civilian capacities, mailroom, clerk. I never knew of any medical staff, but there were a lot of clerks and a lot of mailroom individuals that had hired on, had since quit from that job, and were hiring back on to be COs. I think probably because they wanted the bonus that was offered at the time. And then you also had your civilian staffing positions. They're called maintenance supervisors. They range anywhere from plumbers to HVAC repair, lock treatment specialists, locksmith. I'm sure there were others. Those are the main ones that come to mind. They were considered non-security, non-uniform personnel. They didn't wear the uniforms. They simply wore appropriate civilian attire. Typically, it could range from a button-down shirt, a polo shirt, pants, something appropriate that you'd wear to a job like that. We actually also had a chaplain in this class. I thought it was pretty odd that a chaplain was going through the academy, but they go through so they can get the chaplain. He went through the self-defense training. Every single thing that we did, he did the same thing too. There were no special privileges whatsoever afforded to this individual. He was just simply another cadet who was going to be filling a chaplaincy role at whatever unit he was getting assigned to. Good dude, good guy. I remember him. Older guy, white guy, bald head, glasses. Friendly, probably way too friendly for TDCJ. I don't know what happened to him after we graduated. Father, I hope if you ever happen to stumble on this, I hope the career did work out for you. If it didn't, welcome to the club, man. I hope nothing bad happened to you from it. So the academy classes would be made up of your security personnel and then your civilian staffs from there. So we were told by the end of the second week we weren't going to go back to the log cabin. We would be in the actual academy building. Cool, great. Week 2 it ended. Took the weekend off, went back home, stayed home Saturday and Sunday. Took some time to square away the uniforms. Being military for many years, I knew very well how to iron out dress uniforms, how to get those sharp creases going down the sleeves, the sharp creases going down the pants, how to get the spit shine on the boots. I knew how to look good and squared away in a uniform. So I had spent the weekend getting all of those together, getting them ready, and dressed out good and cool. I actually left early that morning so that way I could get in the bathroom and change, so that way I didn't have my uniform mussed up, because I was ready to look sharp, just ready to be all I could be. Little pun on the Army from the 80s, 90s. Just look the best that I could, ready to get started off on week 3. We get in formation, we're outside, everyone's dressed out in uniform, and there are a couple of cadets there that they aren't in uniform. They're in civvies, and they're not the maintenance individuals. Sergeant comes out, class leader turns around, gives, I don't know what they actually said. I think he took a count. There was supposed to be X number of cadets, and it was the class leader's job to count them and give this report to the lead instructor, whoever was in charge of our class. We would have classes from multiple instructors, but there was one instructor sergeant who was ultimately over our class, and this instructor would report to the lieutenant, who would report to the captain about the status of the class, who had quit, who had gotten injured, so forth and so forth. Very paramilitary done. So there was some individuals still in civilian clothes, and the class leader had told the instructor about it. And I don't remember the exact words, but I remember the instructor calling us all to attention, telling us if there are anybody who is supposed to be in uniform who's not in uniform, fall out to the back of the formation. Everybody else inside. Those individuals that were in civilian clothes, I never saw them again. I want to say there was about, if I had to guess, 10 of them. And this is a pretty large number of us, about 60 of us in this class. We had started around somewhere in the 80s, and folks were starting to get weeded out. Okay, so they had just showed up in the improper, not in uniform. Now, why I didn't see them again, I don't know. We had falled in, Lord. We fell out of the platoon and went in the building, got in our classroom, and went through classes from there. This is when we started getting into a lot more unit building specific instructions. They gave us procedures about how to count inmates, how the paperwork was supposed to be filled out. We were issued the officer's handbook. We were issued the inmate orientation handbook, aka the offender handbook, as they're called at TDC, which was the guidelines that they were supposed to abide by. And the instructors did a lot of role play with us. They would single out one of the cadets in class, have them stand up, and the instructor would then role play as an inmate. For example, I'm the instructor sergeant. Point at Cadet Janice. Cadet Janice, stand up. She stands up. Playing the role of an offender. Hey, how you doing? I ain't seen you here before yet. You new? You looking good in them trousers right there. They cut them to fit you real well, didn't they? Yeah. Hey, you need anything? Can I get you anything? You gonna do something? What you gonna do? And it would continue on until the cadet actually acted in role as an officer and stopped the situation. They'd sit there and embarrass the cadet, harass them. Some of them would just stand there and do nothing. Others, when they started talking, whoa, go ahead and stop that right there. Let me see your ID. Give me your ID. I need to know who you are. I'm going to write you up. All right? And they go from there. Basically, the instructor would stop whenever the cadet said, let me see your ID. Now, in reality, at the unit, this wouldn't stop an altercation. If anything, it didn't stop an altercation. You had to do better than that. But that was the extent of it at the academy. It was to start to slowly expose manipulation and the comments that were going to get made. And there were quite a few cadets that were exposed to some of this that they just didn't come back. There might have been other reasons why they didn't, but I noticed after a lot of this training started, we didn't see them again. We did not graduate 80 individuals, 80-ish, like when we had started. I think we might have been in the class I started with might have been in the 30s. On graduation, they had combined two of the classes, so it was big on graduation day, but we had weeded out a lot of individuals for just not being suitable for it. Also, during week 3, there was a lot more emphasis on defensive tactics training. We still did that in the evening times. I say the evening times, in the later parts of the day. We also got into basics of handcuffing, hand restraints, and week 3 was when we had our first unit tour. And I think this is a good time to cut this video off. I'll get this one edited, get it published up for you guys. And the next video that we get into, I'll talk all about my experience at the holiday unit, how that went, what we were exposed to, lead on up into week 4. Take care.